Hi everyone, I haven't done a video for quite some time, so I thought I'd give it a bash today. I did try and do it outside, but the wind was making the sound horrendous, so I stuck in on the couch. For those who read my blog regularly, you know that the last few, well, I was going to say weeks, but probably months, have not been the most fantastic health-wise for me, on top of my normal stuff. I got a really nasty flu which went to my chest, and currently I'm in the midst of a lovely case of atypical gastro, which is less than pleasant, to say the least. I've actually lost, I think it was 8 kilos when I last checked, so you know, better than Jenny Craig, but a lot less pleasant, I'm pretty sure. It's made everything a lot harder to deal with symptom-wise, dysautonomia. I simply don't think the medications are actually staying in my system long enough, and it's been really hard trying to maintain fluids in the night because everything is just making me so nauseous, or you know, the water's acting as a laxette after about 10 minutes. So, you know, probably too much information, but you know, what can you do? Yesterday I actually tried eating a really basic sandwich, which, yes, I know now, and probably knew at the time, is completely ridiculous given that I have gastro. But after so long without a proper meal, I pretty much thought, bugger it, I'm going to do that. And of course paid the price pretty much. Well, I don't even think I got 10 minutes. And then was just really shitty with myself and shitty with life and with everything. And it got me thinking about one of the issues that comes up again and again on the forums is about coping. And a hell of a lot of people think they're not coping, or that others are coping better than them. And I know yesterday I wasn't really coping, so yeah, there you go. I think part of the problem with this whole coping issue is that Western society in particular is very focused on always being happy. It's like admitting that you're not happy or everything's not perfect is somehow taboo these days. If you're not happy, then you need to take a pill, or you need to change your attitude, or you need to get therapy, or whatever. And I'm not talking about actual serious psychiatric illnesses like clinical depression. That's a whole different kettle of fish. I'm talking about just the day-to-day emotional things we encounter. There's very much a push to always be positive. Part of that we do ourselves, and part of that comes from other people in our life, and other people don't really want to hear when things aren't going well. And I think there's also a sense that, you know, well, you're still sick, you're always sick, so why can't you just get over it, as I've heard from people who aren't ill. But I won't go there, I'm not going that way. And I think what we forget is that not always coping and being happy, you know, happy, permanently perky people is actually normal, because things happen in life and they're crap, and there's no point saying that's great, because that's not the truth, and you're stuffing down what you're actually going through. With chronic illness, it's a lot different to coping with other things. I'm talking about grief here, which is something we don't really talk about. When it comes to dealing with chronic illness, whatever it is, doesn't have to be dysautonomia, it can be anything, but as a society we don't talk about grief particularly well, we don't deal with it well. And there's a difference in the grief that we're dealing with a chronic illness as opposed to like a single one-off event, like losing a loved one, where it's very tragic and it's heart-wrenching and all of that, and the pain doesn't necessarily get better over time, but you learn to cope with it and move on. There is, you know, that old adage, time heals old wounds, is actually quite true. However, when you've got a chronic illness, you're having a series of losses. It can be every day in some cases. It can be big events like leaving work, not being able to drive, complete lack of independence, which I've used my independence. Things like that, which are really easy to understand and to identify. Or it could be just the other more simple aspects, like, for example, getting up in the morning and having your legs collapse underneath you on the way to the loo, and ending up, face first on the carpet, thinking, why the hell can't I even walk to the damn loo? Is it really that complex? Most days I can cope with that. Some days it really, really gets to me. And those little events happen a lot when you're chronically ill. You're dropping things, you can't go out with friends, you can't just get through a shop when you're going to do grocery shopping and things like that. And it happens on a continual basis. And every time that happens, it's like a little loss for you. And something that you need to work through and deal with. And you get angry, you get teary, or that you might be bent over the loo throwing up a sandwich with tears in your eyes by chance, and that's okay. It's actually okay to be upset by that. It's okay to be angry about that, and you're actually doing yourself a disservice by not admitting that you're angry, or that you're sad, or that it's all just too much. I think a lot of people equate admitting that you're not happy with not coping or somehow failing, and that you should be doing better is really the big thing that comes out of it. But that's actually not the truth, because by stuffing down those emotions, you never really deal with them. And part of, if you do therapy or if you do grief counselling or anything like that, which I used to do with work, I did a lot with grief and chronic illness and long-term disability, things like that, which is really ironic now. But if you're not actually discussing it in some manner, and it might be, on a YouTube video, it might be to a friend on a forum, it might be writing something, it might be going to a therapist, whatever it might be. If you're not actually doing that, you never actually process those losses. And they build up and up and up and up and up and up. And we create this whole thing where we're supposed to be perfectly happy and perfect all the time. And if we don't meet that perfection, which is just a myth, then we've failed somehow. And it's so far from the truth that it's not funny. And I'm not talking about being upset every single day, day after day, for months on end. I'm talking about just the everyday stuff where you go through a really rough patch health-wise, or you have a really confronting situation of, being out in public and passing out or vomiting, or one of those types of events. And you need to be able to say that's not okay, because it really isn't. And I know for myself at the moment, I've had a few tears and and being shitty and all of that, and that's normal. It really is normal. So I guess basically what I'm trying to say is that it's okay to not be happy all the time. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to sit in the corner and cry some days, because frankly, when you're ill every single day, you have that right, really. And it's giving yourself compassion, basically, and understanding that you're normal. I think that's the main thing that what I want people to get if they watch this video to get out of it, is that it's normal not to be happy sometimes. And that's not to say don't try to be happy, because that's very, very important, and it's really important to try and find a laugh and things that make you happy when your life has changed completely. And it doesn't matter how small that thing is, if it makes you happy, it makes you happy, and that's great. But there are times when it just purely sucks, and it's okay to say that. And it actually takes courage to admit that it sucks. A lot more courage than to put on a false face and be, constantly positive. So I guess that's what I'm saying. It's okay. That's the main message. I hope that everyone out there is doing okay, as much as they can. and particularly those in the northern hemisphere are having quite a hot summer from what I understand, and really wish I could send you some of our cool winter weather. So much more pleasant. Really dreading our summer. But yeah, I wish I could send you some of that to help out, because I know it makes a big difference symptom wise. Heat is not our friend. So yeah, so that's about all I wanted to say. I think there's probably lots more that I could say, but the brain's not functioning and pretty much I'm just feeling exhausted. So yeah, so take care. See you later.